All right, we are back, and we've got our burnt sienna. We have this started here, so now we need to start to add some light. Our options for light on this palette are going to be white. This is just a titanium white here. And then we're going to have two different cadmiums. So we have cadmium orange. This is the Utrecht cadmium free orange. And this is the cadmium green. And the idea is orange is when I need to go more warm. Some of that on there. And green is when I need to neutralize that warmth, if I don't want it to get too warm. And I want to keep it a little bit on the more kind of like neutral, cool side. So I don't need much of this, but we'll put those up there at the other corner. So now we have the three different colors and our brown. That's it. That's our whole palette. I have a diagram I'm going to put over here. It's going to sit there. Maybe some of the portrait as well. So you can kind of see that as we go through and get going. So I am going to switch to a new brush. Rather than work with the same brush, I'm going to kind of keep the other brown one for the brown, and I'm just going to use this one for my lights. So what I usually start to do, and I'll just tilt down for a second so you can see the portrait, is I'm going to start to go for those highlight areas, and I'm going to focus on them and try to add some light to those, and then kind of spread out from there. There we go. Try to make it not so crooked. There we go. So the first light that I see over here is very, on the left side, is very cool. So I'm going to use mostly white. And let's try a little bit of that with some cadmium green and a touch of the cad orange. But mostly white. All right, that's not bad. Maybe a little more white and a little more green, just to neutralize that. There we go. I can always add more white to this. The beauty of having something that's not pure white is I can make it brighter. So I see a highlight sitting right up above the corner of the eyebrow. So somewhere in here. Ooh, that looks super green to me. We'll have to fix that a little bit. And then it fades out as it goes up. And it goes up quite a ways, right to the hairline. That's better. This newer, lighter version, I think, is better. Then I see some of the highlight underneath that, right near that corner. I see some more on the upper eyelid right here. And then, as we work our way down, I see it catching down and under near the outside corner and here on the cheek. So all I'm really doing is like a statement of highlights on the cool side of the face. Also a little bit right here, the inside corner, and then that kind of spreads out, comes down across that zone in between the eye and the nose. And that's going to come down to catch the corner or the edge of the nose, something like that. It's going to be a little bit softer than that, so I'll spread that out a little bit. And I can go back and put it back in. And that comes down to touch and get to the end on the ball of the nose. There's a bright highlight. And then the wing also gets some of that light there. I'm just going to tap at the edge of that a little bit. as we come down, we're going to get a little bit of light underneath the nostril on the top of the lip there. And there's definitely a little spot where you get some light right next to the wing of the nose. It's always a good place to look for a highlight. And then as it turns over, it starts to fade out. Put a little more back in there. There we go. The next place to look is usually the top of the lip. So I see a little bit right on upper part of that lip, and then it kind of curves over towards the middle. We're going to get some on the lower lip, right past the shadow. And then as we come down a little bit more, a little bit over towards the corner here. And it's really, really dim down here. Maybe just a little teeny hint of light right there. I could probably bring that whole part of it back out over here a little bit. I'm going to grab a little extra and hit that highlight. There's a highlight on that cheek. It's a little bit brighter right there. There we go. Those are most of my cool side highlights when I'm looking up and down the face. I think I want to bring that out a little bit and make that, there we go. Something like that. The only other zone I need to kind of think about and worry about on this side, there are some parts in the hair, but we're going to kind of skip over that for now. I'm going to hit some of the highlights on the ear. So the helix up here gets a little bit. There's a little bump out for the tragus right there that's going to get a little bit of light. Inside is going to catch a little next to the hole before you get the anti-tragus. The bump on the outside, grabbing some. And she's got a nice bright diamond earring, so I might even get some white and do that a little brighter. There's a little bit of light on the lobe next to it. This is fading over to the side, the outside, and then we're going to catch some light along the anti-helix. Then the anti-helix on the inside. Just doing something like that. So there we go. We've got the highlights on the cool side. I could maybe show that I have one up on the hair in here. Same thing on the hair in here. It's kind of braided. So we've got maybe kind of more broken strokes as it moves around there. But we can kind of show that that's there. There's a little bit also kind of up on the top. There's a braid that's getting some of this. Something like that. All right, I think that's it for my cool side. So these don't always look super cool right now. Some of it looks very green, especially the stuff that I started with. Could probably work a little more white into some of that. But that sets up a pretty good balance of that. So let's go over to the warm side where the light is catching on the left or the right side, and it's definitely way more orange. So I'm going to grab some orange and kind of make a new mixture here. All right, so this is what I'm going to start to use. The obvious first part is right at the top of the forehead, right along that edge. And eventually we might go through and mix some of this orange with some brown, some different colors. We'll get values out of that. But for right now, we're just going to stick with these guys. I'm getting a highlight right on the outside of that upper lid, on the edge of the lower lid below that. There's a little bit beside the eye over here. I want to spread that out because it's not as bright as the other stuff. There's a decent amount of orange on that edge of the cheek. Now the edge of the nose is catching some, and the edge of the wing on the nostril over there. And we might even be able to play those a little bit more bright orange. Maybe some of this as well. Now this whole outside edge is catching just a little bit of this orange, but it's darker. I'm going to use more kind of more straight orange, especially as we come over to that edge and kind of work our way down towards where the lip is. Something like that. Let's build up a little bit of light up here next to the upper lip, and then right next to the outside corner it's catching just a little bit of light too. Very faded, but some. I want to use this also. We get a little bit right underneath the chin here, and there's a lot of warmth down on this shoulder. So eventually we're kind of catching a little bit more down in here and on the collarbone itself. Something like that. So I think that that definitely is helping, and we're getting a contrast of like this warm edge versus the cool side. Let's see, I think I do need to get past the eyebrow. There's a little bit of an edge over there that's catching it too. So a little bit of that also making its way into the hair and the edges of the braids up there. Right before we finish, I am going to take my rag and I'm going to wipe it off. I'm going to pull this orange off of here. If I can grab it. It keeps slipping out of my hand. All right, and I want to go back to the cool because I forgot one spot. Probably you can't see it. Yeah, you can. Right there in the bottom corner. There's a little bit of the inside of this eye over here that I think could use some of that cool. So I'm going to go back to that cool and just get a little bit right in there, and it also catches a little bit of the white of the eye over here. All right, so now I need to kind of carve a lot of this out. I think I'm getting close to the point where I can start to do that and be just a little bit more accurate. But for the most part, I think we've got to stage 2. We brought in our lights. We went cool on this side. Actually, we need a little bit more. I wasn't thinking about the fact that we have some on the neck in this zone. So I'm kind of making strokes that are going across that neck, pulling around the neck, trying to reinforce its cylinder shape. Then I can go against that and kind of fade it out towards the edges and kind of put some of that back. We're also going to get a little bit on top of the shoulder over here and the clavicle, collarbone. All right, I'm happy with that. That hit all the spots. So now what this does is we have the lights, we have the shadows, we have the brown. So now we can start to look for the colors in between, and we'll do that one in another video.